Oh, who we got online here so far? What's that show, that kids show used to be? Romper Room, Romper Stomper Bumper Boo. Tell me true. Oh, I see Darren, and I see Jackie, and I see Steven. How you guys doing tonight? Oh, Joe just popped on there. Yeah, we're not doing too bad here, Darren. It's still sunny, although it's supposed to, I think, turn to clouds overnight and rain. It's been cool. Won't kid you, haven't had the air conditioning on. I almost had to turn the heater back on. But interesting. And got some plants planted on the weekend anyways. And I was able to find Carolina Reapers. My friend who owns a greenhouse, I was bemoaning the fact that he didn't have any. So he ordered a few flats in, and I grabbed a bunch of plants. So I will have hot sauce again in the fall unless something catastrophic happens to the crop. Good evening, everybody. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and I'd like to welcome you to the COVID-19 Rag Chew. We're on week 12, Monday night edition, and the sun is shining. There's a little bit of a nip in the air. It's just dipping, I think, around somewhere between 65 and 70 degrees right now, which is cooler than what it has been, although warmer than what it was on the weekend, that's for sure. Anyways, I'm going to take a pause here, make sure my spreadsheet's all ready. And with that, we will start taking check-ins. Try not to stomp on everybody, but have at her. VE3LKS.
Victor Echo 3 Papa Whiskey Juliet. This is VE3OGS Mobile. Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Golf.
CA3 BTQ.
Victor Alpha 3 Tango Papa Sierra. VE3HIX. VE Victor Golf Juliet.
Okay, I'll tell you what I have so far. I have VE3PWJ, that's Peter. VE3OTS, I believe it was, Oscar Tango Sierra. Yeah, he was mobile. I'm not familiar with that call, but we'll get to you in a second there. VA3AG is Eldo, VA3BTQ Jackie, VA3TPS Steve, VE3HIX Bob, and VE3VGJ Joe. Anybody else wishing to check in this evening?
Victor Alpha 3 Delta Charlie Echo. VE3 IRB. VE3 IGX.
Okay, I copied VE3. Where did I leave off at? Well, I'll just go back up to Steve. VA3 TPS, VE3 HIX Bob, VE3 VGJ Joe, VA3 DCE Doug, VE3 IRB Robert, VE3 IGX Cam, and there was one other station, but you guys were doubling, and I only got one out of the deal. No, nothing else heard. Okay, we'll go back up to the mobile and see if he's heading out of town, and if so, we'll let him go first. VE3OTS, this is VE3LKS, and my handle here is Laird, Lima Alpha India Romeo Delta, and welcome to the COVID-19 Rag Chew.
VE3LKS, VE3OGS, Ontario's greatest station. Good afternoon, or good evening. Name is Gary. I'm heading into Bowmanville, just heading home. Had a rather late day at work, but other than that, life is good, weather is good. And, just coming into Bowmanville now. I'll copy V3LKS, VE30GS, mobile.
Fine copy so far, Gary. And I know going into Bowmanville, there's a bit of a hole there. We have a few guys that live there, and I know there's places there where it just totally dies out, but thanks to geography. But yes, thanks for joining us this evening, and glad you're almost home from work. I hope you don't start early in the morning.
Oh yes, I start very early. I only work 4 days a week, so it kind of makes up for it. I was on the road at 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh, ouch! Yes. Hopefully, the fourth day you have, the fifth day that you have off is Friday.
This week it'll be Wednesday. But going forward, it will be Monday. So work Tuesday to Friday. Have a 3-day weekend.
Okay, very good. And now that you mentioned your call, you have APRS in your vehicle, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that around on the APRS. Several of us are into that as well. Well, thanks for joining us this evening, Gary. And listen, we're on here every weeknight, Monday to Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. And we've nicknamed it the COVID-19 Rag Chew. It's basically just to break up the monotony while everyone is still confined to their humble abodes. And we can't get out to share coffee or whatever at the local coffee joints. So feel free to join us and any day that we're on, and we'd love to have you. And with that, we will go back up to the top to Peter, VE3PWJ. And Peter, a couple of topics for discussion this evening. One is if you've noticed any additional wildlife in your area. For instance, I know we've got quite a few chipmunks this year. Matter of fact, we've got about 3 of them in our backyard that are having all sorts of fun, and we got 2 of them that'll come and eat right up, climb up onto my lap and sit there and eat out of my hands, and a couple of them will even let us pet them. So, and then we've also got a couple of cardinals that are coming to our bird feeder, and I haven't seen cardinals in our yard for probably about 10 years. So it's interesting, the wildlife, how this whole thing is affecting it. Maybe it's because of less traffic. The second thing is the launch and docking of the spacecraft that went up this past week. So we'll leave it open to either topic, and take it away.
Okay, well, good evening, Laird, and all the good folks you have assembled there tonight. Lots of chipmunks sort of around in the backyard, but Greta goes after them, so they don't hang around too long. That's our black lab, so that's one. And I haven't seen too many other birds. I've seen the odd robin, but that's about it. And I did see the space job there. That was quite well, too. But we've been up painting the sheds the last day or so, and it's cost me, believe it or not, Laird, if you're sitting down, $70 for 2 cans of stain for the 2 sheds. So, boy, I'm telling you, I don't imagine people are going to do a lot of painting this year. Over to you, Laird, and get some more beans.
Oh my! Whose sheds are you staining? It sounds like they're not your own.
So these are our own sheds. I have one that's an 8x14, and then the other one's an 8x12. They were built by Steve Sheds on Bloor Street, and they've been good, but it was time for refresh, so my grandson's been over, and we've been working away at that for the last day or so.
Oh, okay, very good. Well, good luck with that, Steve. And At least it was a bit cooler today. I mean, I think it got up to, I think, about a high of 70. I still can't figure out what that is in Celsius. I can't tell temperature in Celsius. I couldn't tell you what's warm and cold, except that 0 is 32, and that's about it. But very good. And at least you've had a bit of help there. Yeah, let's see who's next on the list. VA3 AG Aldo.
Good evening, Laird, and all on the repeater. And temperature at the moment is 23 Celsius or 73 Fahrenheit, I think. Anyway, Laird, I've been playing around with the N3, what is it, FJP software for Field Day. I think there's a way that it can be networked via the internet. So I am not the computer guy, but you are, so I'm sure you'll come up with a way to do it, Roger.
Oh, now I know how you guys feel when I throw you under the bus. Oh, very good. Well, to be honest with you, I haven't taken too much of a look at it. But I will make a public service announcement here that's sort of related to it. We were up at White Feather Farms on the weekend having our coffee get together, and we were practicing safe distancing and everything. And I collected quite a bit for the haircut that I did last week. You're all familiar with the fundraiser we did at my expense. And if you're on YouTube right now, on the YouTube channel, you'll see it there. And if those who are listening are wondering what I'm talking about, we have a YouTube live stream of our Rag Chew every night. So if you just go to YouTube and put my call sign in, which is Victor Echo 3 Lima Kilowatt Sierra, you'll come up with our live stream and you get to watch me all night talk. Yeah, I got to shave the head and took the beard off and raised lots of money. And so I bought the paid version of Zoom. I'm just going to drop it here. And with that, we had to test it out. So Joe and I did some testing, and one of the things he was showing me when we were testing was that software. So it's quite slick. I've used it before, but I've never really paid much attention to it. You know what I mean? So we had a good little time there. I think we were planning on maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and about an hour and a half later we were done. That's what happens when you're having fun. But it was a good time, and so yeah, looking forward to learning more about that. I'll see what I can find out, Aldo, and see if we can make that work over the internet. Let's see who's next. VA3 BTQ. And yes, I saw Jackie and my dog Scamp on Saturday, so I'm glad Jackie brought him out.
Good evening, everybody. This is VA3BTQ. My wildlife here is Scamp. He got a spa day today, so he is half the size you saw him on Saturday. I'll have to bring him out so you can see him now, because he's just infinite. He's so small. Wildlife around here, the birds have been fantastic. Cardinals and crows being chased by 35 little birds, and on it goes. Over.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it's interesting. I know even downtown Oshawa, and this is sort of what sparked it. Last week there was a bear spotted down by the Oshawa Creek. So that doesn't happen too often in this neck of the woods. So it's interesting, and it's nice too. I like sitting out in my backyard and hearing all the birds. And the only thing I don't like is sleeping with the window open, and at about 3:45 in the morning, they're just going hog wild out there. I think it's because Joe wakes up in Bowmanville really early, and so they figure, well, if he's up, they should be up. VA3 TPS Steve.
Okay, good evening, Laird, and to everybody on frequency tonight. I think with that field day thing, Laird, I believe everybody uses their own call sign and just put the North Shore sub down for the sub.
and it gets cold that way. I don't believe we use this other call sign, so I don't think it'd be necessary to use a network logging. But that's what the script I'm getting from the other instructors that I follow when the guys are talking about it. And for animals, well, we got deer, foxes, raccoons. We've got the woodpecker pecking away here. I got a blue jay that sits outside my window of my shack here most days. No skunks this year, so that's a plus. Back to you.
Yes, I know we've got a raccoon too, or a trash panda, as I like to call them, because it keeps on making a mess out beside my house. But I've smelled a few skunks, but haven't seen any yet. It used to be that I'd go walking. Sometimes I'd wake up and I couldn't fall asleep. But I'd go walking like at 2 a.m. I'd run into one or two. But I've been sleeping through the night pretty good lately, so haven't been out walking and haven't seen those. But I wonder why there'd be fewer skunks. Interesting. VE3HIX, Bob.
Good evening, Larry. Good evening, everyone on the repeater. Let's see, three things without the animals here. The software for field day, if it's okay to do repeats for the club, then that's fine. We can use the software just as is. You wouldn't be doing repeats for yourself the way it comes. So anybody, if you try to work them 2 times, it'll give you a warning. But when the files are combined, if repeats are fine, then it's just the way it sits. And we'll let Darren take care of that part of it. Other than that, what do we got? The good news was last Saturday, I think we got the generator working properly by smacking the gas regulator with a hammer, and everything popped into place and ran perfectly. I would like to do another frequency check on that under full load, now that it's got a richer mixture going to the engine. And that looks good. But on a not so good note, we got apparently Carol Day passed away on Friday in Whitby. That's Ralph Day's wife. Her daughter Kim called me from California and said that because of the COVID outbreak that she can't even get into the country here, and that everything's being put off until the future. We will hear from her what's going to happen. And, of course, they'll have to move out of her apartment and so forth. She's doing all that by remote control over the phone and putting things into storage. Sorry to bring that kind of news for you, but we'll turn it back to you, Laird. E3HIX.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Bob. And yes, as we all know, Ralph passed away not too long ago. And, well, as happens quite often, that does happen. And it's too bad, but... it's just too bad it happened when it did, because as you say, the family, can't even get out to help much. So yeah, it's terrible that way. Well, if you're chatting with her again, let her know if there's anything we can do that we'd be more than happy to help. And, even if it means getting a bunch of us together on a weekend to load up a truck or something, I'm sure we could get a couple of guys that would be willing to help out. Let's see, Joe, VE3VGJ.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. Yes, hello again to Aldo. I listened to him on Non-Tars the other day there. It was surprising. It came in nice from Curtis to Bowmanville there on 80 meters there, high. And also Gary coming in there mobile. I talk with him in the morning often on his driving to work. I'm still sitting here having breakfast, and I see him on the move and give him a call. And in regards to wildlife around here, got all the regular critters, but this year something unusual. Merlin falcons, 2 of them. And they look like they're going to nest in this great big black spruce back of the property. They're doing a lot of stuff around it. Meanwhile, there's some crows nesting in another tree. Anyway, this went on for about 2 weeks, then we didn't hear the Merlins anymore, so they moved on. But anyway, that was the biggest thing. It was quite the thing, and they had a real interesting call. And also on the logging software, again, I appreciate the help of Bob there, HEX, and Darren there, NMD, for sort of sending me some information and getting a feel for it. Looks like it's very easy software to use. Back to you there, Larry.
Yeah, very good. And yeah, you mentioned the merlins, and interesting. I'll have to look those up. It sounds like an interesting bird. I don't think I've ever. I may have seen one, but I just never knew what it was. So, and the name is even interesting. It brings back, conjures up memories of King Arthur and Merlin, the magician. Anyways, I digress. A few people online tonight. There's Darren's checking in on the YouTube station, NMD from Montreal. RPN is checking in online tonight, and I'm not sure why that is, but I'm sure he's got a good reason. And Gary Zed's online, and yeah, he was wondering why we want people to know where we are with APRS, and it's okay, Gary. We don't tell our wives how to use the software to track us, so we're all good. Let's see. There is some good for it though, like uh, especially if we're doing events and we have vehicles out on the road, we can tell real quickly where they are. Let's see who's next. VA3 DCE Doug.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning. Good evening, Larry. I just woke up. And everybody else on the net tonight. We got an interesting topic tonight. First thing I'll talk about wildlife is I want to know what kind of dog is Scamp. I saw him before the transformation, and for a minute there I couldn't tell which end was which. And I can see how he'd be quite a different dog now. What kind of breed is he? And going back to wildlife, let's see, kamikaze rabbits. I was on the trail at 6:30 this morning, and no one else was up that time, so there was no one there. It was so cold, it was 5 degrees on the soy scale, and 5 degrees on the soy scale means that my beard goes crispy and wet from the frost. And, well, by 8:30 I was back having a nap again, so I love wildlife.
So you had some bunny wabbits attacking you, did you?
They just have this thing where they want to dart out right in front of you, and at the last second they head the other direction, but then you're almost doing a double take over the top of the handlebar.
Okay, very good. And yeah, Scamp is very good at running in reverse. We'll go back to Jackie for a quick one and let her explain what breed of canine that is.
Hi, everybody. This is Scamp's mother. Scamp is a miniature golden doodle, if you can believe that. His mother was gray. His father was really a rusty color. How on earth he came out black, I'll never know. Over.
Well, Jackie, I don't. If we have to explain the birds and the bees to you here on the rag chew, then they're. Well, maybe we'll save it for another time. Very good. I was going to say, when you said he was a golden doodle, I'm thinking, hold on, he's black as a piece of coal, man. But very good. Can't wait to see him with his new hairdo. He'll be just like me almost. Let's see. VE3 IRB, Robert.
Well, good day, everybody. Another great day out there. I was out in the garden for a bit, doing some business, a little bit of everything today. Had a bowl of fresh radishes right from the garden for supper, along with a fresh coconut from City Patties and a couple of patties from City Patties. So it's a good day overall. Sorry to hear about Mrs. Day there, but yeah. Anyways, I'll throw it back to you.
Oh, very good. Yes, radishes are amazing little vegetables. They grow just in about a week, I think. Maybe slightly longer, but it seems like a week. And man, you can plant those things all summer long and enjoy them all summer long. And when you said you got coconut, I'm going, hold on. You just live west of me here. How can you grow coconut? But then you clarified, and yes. I tried going in there once, and I walked in, and not a soul was around. And I called, and no one was around, so I left. I didn't want to make myself at home and just go make up some food for myself, but it was interesting. I'll have to try it again sometime. VE3IGX, Cam.
Well, good evening, Laird, and everyone on the frequency. Regarding the wildlife here, we've always had rabbits running around at all times. We have the robins that been building a nest underneath our deck, our second floor deck for the last 3 or 4 years. She'd build a nest, blackbirds would come tear it off. That happened 3 times. Then she finally got one made, and the dove took over that one, and now she's got 2 kids in there. The wife is keeping an eye on them. So we'll give it on back to you. VE3LKS, VE3IGX.
Excellent. I don't know what it is, but to me, there's always something about wildlife. I like having it around, and except unless you're, backpacking in Algonquin and you have a bear sniffing at your tent in the middle of the night, that's no fun. But other than that, I don't mind it. I quite enjoy it, and I'm glad to see more of it, and I'm glad everyone else is sort of enjoying it too this year. Let's take a standby since we are at the bottom of the list, and see if there's anybody else that would like to join us on the COVID-19 Rag Chew. If so, now's your opportunity to jump in. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
VA3, Romeo Tango Victor.
Victor Echo 3, Delta Kilo Watt.
VA3, VA8.
VE3, CRU.
Okay, I acknowledge. Let's see, who do I acknowledge here? Jeffrey, VA3RTV. Rylan and Mark, VE3DKW. VA3 BAH Brian, VE3 CRU Bill. Anybody else wanting to check in this evening?
VA3 WVZ.
Okay, we acknowledge William, VA3 WBZ. And with that, we will go back to Jeffrey. And this evening, and we've got a couple of topics, although the first topic in the first round seems to be the wildlife. We've noticed there's more wildlife. I know there was an article out last week about a black bear down by the Oshawa Creek. And so we were just mentioning what extra wildlife have you seen around your place this year that you normally wouldn't, or just sheer quantities of it that you normally wouldn't. And the second topic is if you watch the launch and the docking of the spacecraft. And so far, no one's commented on that, so we'll save that for the second round. Back to you, Jeffrey, VA3RTV.
Well, good evening, everybody. As far as wildlife goes, I think it's 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a deer in our back garden. Took a few pictures, so you might have seen that on Facebook. That's pretty rare for us. I mean, it's not the first time, but it's pretty rare. And also, I think I've got a bit of a wildlife. So with that, back to you.
Well, you may not have one, but at least Lois has some wildlife lurking around. Very good, Jeffrey. And yeah, I'll have to get on Facebook and see those what you're referring to there. Let's see. Next on the list, Rylan and Mark, and I believe that was Rylan checking in, VE3DKW.
Good evening to everybody on the net and Laird. Wildlife. I think we might have raccoons around and skunks, because the odd time I saw skunks around at night.
And I think there might be raccoons too, because we leave our the ends of our barns on the grass outside, and I think they eat it all, or just the birds do. Back to you, Lord.
Oh yes, the ever beloved trash pandas. I know they're. You know what? We've got these in town here. We have these recycle bins, and they're green, and they've got a snap shut lid with a metal latch on them. And those guys, man, it doesn't take them long to figure it out. And they'll open it up and they'll leave it all over my patio for me. So in the morning, I got to get up and go out there and clean it up. And they're usually pretty good, though. They don't come every night because they figure, well, they were there last night, had a buffet, and they probably got everything they needed. And so it's usually then a few nights later, it'll happen again. But very good, Rylan. Let's see, VA3 BAH Brian.
Hi, good evening, Larry, and everybody else on that. You know, when you first started talking about wildlife, I thought of one of my favorite songs, Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. But then I realized you weren't talking about me. You were talking about the rabbits, blue jays, orioles, and blue jays. Did I say blue jays already? I'm getting in my yard and the dog chasing. So that's the wildlife here in Kingston. Back to you.
Yes, well, if we were talking about you and the wildlife, we'd be here till almost midnight going on and on about that, Brian. But yes, very good. I know I had mentioned cardinals. I haven't seen cardinals in my yard for probably about 10 years. And this year, we all of a sudden, boom, we got cardinals. So don't know what it is. I think I may go out and look for an oriole feeder. I think you put oranges and grape jelly on it. And so I may try that this year too, since there seems to be an abundance of wildlife. VE3 CRU Bill, and hey, how's that air conditioning going? I bet you've had that thing cranked right down all weekend, right down to about 60 degrees.
Well, I wouldn't go to VE3 LKS, VE3 CRU. No, I have. In fact, the first night I froze. I forgot I could put the heat on. So then I said to get it through my head how to make this thing operate. That's now functioning fine. But I'll hold off on the critters for a minute. Today I had a very great day there. As you know, I'm cleaning out the garage, and I even got the car cleaned out. Then loaded up some Hammond cabinets there from the estate of Hands VE3 CRU number 1, and got them in the vehicle. One's 7 feet high, one's 36 inches, and one's 30 inches. The 30 inch was light compared to the other guys, and put them down. That was some 3 hours from the Peterborough Amateur Radio Club, PA3NW, VE3IQZ, and the third fellow, I'm not sure of his call. I know the face, but put a few antennas down and some other stuff that'll be put to use down there. And what I got back was what I needed most, a mask for the COVID. That was more important than anything else. But the lovely drive, and as I say, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So with that, I'll turn it back to you for now, and VE3 LKS, VE3 CRU. Oh, by the way, you couldn't hear me in the mobile. I'm on the 5/8 whip, so I came up the stairs. Now I'm 20 feet above the ground.
Okay, very good, Bill. And glad that air conditioning is installed now. Just in time for a nice cold weekend. That was perfect timing. Let's see, VA3 WBZ William. And how is everything in your end of the world? Oh, hope that's not a bad sign. Hopefully he's just gone somewhere. Let me just take another quick round. We'll do one more call for check-ins, and then we'll go back up to the top. This is Laird VE3 LKS, and if you'd like to join us this evening, now's your opportunity. Okay, nothing heard. Let's try William again. VA3 WBZ. Well, we'll come back to William in a moment, and with that, we'll go right back up to the top to PWJ, and I guess this time we will talk about the launch of the what was it called? I can't remember the name of it. I know it was SpaceX. Anyways, the rocket that went up and the capsule and the docking. I mean, that was just amazing. I remember watching the old Apollo rockets going up, and I mean, inside those capsules, it was like just a whole bunch of switches and knobs and dials and little lights and tubes and hoses running everywhere. And now these guys get in, and it's like they're in a sci-fi movie. All they have is a couple of monitors in front of them, and nice, comfortable chairs that are custom designed for them, and it really was quite astounding. Over to you, Peter.
WBZ.
Okay, William, you're back. Excellent. We'll take you first then. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was busy helping unload a trailer here. We just picked up some stuff and dropped it off at son-in-law's place. Had been busy for a couple of minutes making them work and work up a sweat, eh? I'm too old to work up a sweat now. You're talking about wildlife and that. The only thing that's happened with us, the wife wanted a bumblebee today, and they're still kicking around in the grass down there because I check on them every now and then. And the other thing I have is a banshee as well that I'm living with there. When she gets into her little tirades and all that stuff, those howling banshees we sometimes refer to as our wives and that. Well, there we go. And, today I had a howling banshee. What can I say, fellas? That launch the other day there on the spaceship, that was pretty amazing to watch. I missed the actual launch, but I did see part of it when they're docking and all that. That was pretty interesting to watch the docking stuff. And you're right about the switches and all that in the spacecraft today. There's a company here in Kitchener or London that actually helped to design these control panels for these spacecraft now. The shuttle, pretty interesting. Okay, back to you, Laird.
Okay, make note. Send Mrs. WBZ an email letting her know that our rag chews are recorded and put on YouTube, and she can peruse them at her leisure. Very good, Bill. Yes, I know what that's all about. I'm sure we all do, and it doesn't matter whether it's our wife or if it's the lady or her husband. I'm sure during this whole thing, at some point or another, we've gotten on each other's nerves. It's just inevitable. And now we will go back up to Peter. VE3PWJ, thank you for your patience.
No problem there for sure, Larry. And I don't know if you noticed when that launch went up, they hadn't really got down to the end of the count, and the thing was already taking off. I thought that was kind of strange. I was surprised at that, but it up went. And had some nice shots on it, too. It was quite a nice launch there. So it was really well, you could look at it. And last night I had a nice call from JP. I think you know who that is there, Jeanette. So she wanted to say hello to the gang there. And she said maybe, just maybe, she might come up on Saturday to meet everybody up with the WFF up there. So there's something to think about there, Laird. Over to you.
Awesome. Yes, Jeanette's a wonderful person. And you know what? I don't think the ride for United Way would be the same without her. She just does such an astounding job. And her personality and everything is just, it would be like having someone else other than KT do the Paul's Dirty Enduro. It just wouldn't be the same. Let's see. VE3OGS. Gary, are you still with us? VE3 OGS, Gary. Okay, nothing heard. I'm assuming Gary probably reached home and he's probably in the house devouring a good meal because, I mean, if he hit the road at 4 o'clock this morning, I'm sure he's more than a bit famished by now and wanting to get in the house. VA3AG, Aldo.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to be going up for Din Din shortly. Good to know there, Bob, if you're listening, that we can go ahead and use the software as is without having to, network it or anything like that. So that's great. So doubles is okay. All right. Well, thanks for doing the net there, and as usual, very interesting. And I watched the launch and the docking of the space station there, the capsule, and that was amazing. That was really something to see. Anyway. Thanks very much, Laird. Back to you. I'll be listening out VE3 LKS and the group VA3AG.
Yes, and there were some funny moments in that launch and docking too. I know, especially the docking. They had docked the spacecraft and they were trying to get what they call the hardline communications going, which is basically just voice over IP. So they would in essence be hooking up a network cable that would be connecting into the space capsule, and then they would be using the hard line, to talk back down through the space center down to Earth. And they were having some issues with that, and they were getting gobbledygook and broken communications. And it was funny because my son and I were watching, and I turned to him and says, all they got to do is go in and reboot the switch or the router, depending on what they have there, and it'll probably work. And they kept on going back and forth. And I kept on saying, reboot it. And then it was funny, about 20 minutes later, the fellow Chris came out floating out of one of the side rooms, and he says, okay, let's try it again. I just rebooted it, and sure enough, the thing worked. And I just about died laughing. Another interesting thing was when the two astronauts came on board, one of them, you see him go to view for a minute, but when he comes back up, he's rubbing his head really bad. And the whole time they're doing an interview, he's got a swab and he's rubbing the side of his head. He must have banged it really good on something. And I was watching the news conference today. I was hoping someone was going to ask him, okay, what did you do? What did you hit your head on? Because the whole news conference, when they landed, he was rubbing his head and everything. Anyways, great bunch of guys up there. VA3 BTQ, Jackie.
Hi, everybody. One thing that's been happening around here is late at night, early mornings, the coyotes are streaming across the back field, and then they howl and howl and howl. Scamp howls with them. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and 20 minutes respite, and then they come back, and so on and so forth for the rest of the night. Over.
Oh, very good. Yeah, just don't let Scamp get out there near him. Otherwise, we wouldn't want to think about that. But a lot of coyotes too, and there seem to be more the last few years, and it's interesting. Look at that! I'm getting compliments on the baby blues online from a YouTuber. Anyways, very good, Lois. I'm glad you like the blue eyes. Although I get a lot of glare off my lenses, but if I don't have my glasses on, I can't read the screen. And if I take my glasses off, I can't read the screen. And then you see my bags under my eyes. But very good, Jackie. Let's see, VA3 TPS.
Okay, Larry, not much else to add. I didn't really watch that on the weekend, but I did see a news thing, and when he's going through the gangway there, through the tunnel, he smashed his head off the bulkhead. That's what caused that. Anyway, great job as usual. I'll be listening to the end, and have a great night. 7-3, everybody. BA3 TPS up in the Fenelon Falls.
Oh, very good, Steve. Now I have an answer to my question. That's awesome. And yeah, you just think, how many hundreds of thousands or thousands of miles do they travel, and when he is landing, he bumps his head. Oh well, that'll go down in infamy. Let's see. VE3HIX Bob.
Okay, good evening again. Laird, I didn't get to see the launch today. I was out gardening again. And I wanted to ask the spaceship, was this a single stage all the way, or was it a reusable type that landed back on its tail at the point of takeoff? I didn't see what happened at that point. Did you see anything of that? Over.
Yes, actually, it was a 2-stage rocket. The first stage actually came right back down and landed on a ship in the ocean. And I'm not sure about the second stage. They didn't really mention too much about the second stage and whether it was retrievable. I think it was, but I don't think it had the capability to land. They were just going to be sending a ship out to pick it up or something. But yeah, it was truly amazing. I mean, how they can bring just part of the rocket back down and land it on a ship in the middle of the ocean. That just boggles the mind, But it's like playing a video game. I bet you these guys are having all sorts of fun. Another thing I noticed too about the broadcast, it's not like the old days, where it was commander this and captain this and corporal this. It was all laid back. Everyone was laid back. Even the people in the control centers, there was some people on there with with the suits and ties, but a lot of the commentators were just wearing NASA and SpaceX outfits, and it was really quite interesting, and a lot of quite young people involved, which is good to see because a lot of times it's more the older folk that are involved, and it's nice to see that they've got a lot of younger people involved too. So it bodes well going forward. VE3 VGJ Joe.
Yes, there are a couple things there too. One critter I forgot to mention I've seen a lot of this year is the opossum. I've seen 2 live ones and about 4 of their roadkill that probably Jeff could use for his bar and grill there, high. And yes, on the rocket launching, I watched that and I was amazed by it. It's kind of funny, I called it up on streaming from NASA on the computer, and then beside me I had a TV going, so I was watching on Channel 7. And there was about a 35-second delay between the streaming and the TV, so I got to watch the launch twice and different views. It was quite the thing to see. And didn't see the docking because we were at the White Feather Farms. That happened, but I did see a rerun of it. But I did see the fellow coming in there and bumping his head, and he cracked her pretty good there. And it was something like that to happen then. Travel all that way and you bump your head when you get into the spaceship there high. And I think it was called Crew Dragon was the capsule. And as regarding the second stage, yes, I didn't quite understand what that was either, whether it was just extra fuel or what, but it is amazing to see them land. And there's also should be some video out there of 2 of the Falcons landing at once. Amazing technology. And it was also strange though that just as it landed, the video cut out and then came back on again. I'm just wondering if it's the case that didn't land properly. They didn't want that to be showing. Back to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what my son said too. He says, "Yeah, they cut it out just so that in case it fell off the deck or something, it wouldn't be an embarrassment." Very good, Joe. And I hate to tell you this, but the docking was actually after we got home from White Feather, because you and I left the repeater site at the same time, I think. And or did you go to the repeater site? Yeah, you were at the repeater site, and yeah, no. So it was on after that. They had started their approach. It took them like a couple of hours to get in line for the approach, but then they actually docked. I was at home already, so it was interesting to watch. Too bad you missed that, but you can go if anybody's interested. You can go to YouTube and look up the NASA channel, and you can see all the replays there. VE3 IRB. Oh crap, Doug.
VE3 IRB, nothing really to add at this point. I'll throw it back to you.
Okay, very good, Bob. Or Robert, sorry. Let's see, VA3 DCE, Doug.
Yeah, back again, Laird, VA3DCE. As far as watching the launch or the docking, I missed the both on purpose. I have this thing where things might go wrong. I'd rather find out after they were successful if they were successful, and then I become more interested because until that time, I don't need to watch some things live. Anyway, all's well here. Check the weather if you want to know for Thunder Bay tomorrow. You might be interested in what Thunder Bay's temperature is supposed to be tomorrow when we're struggling along here. It's quite interesting. VE3LKS, VA3DCE, 73.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be quite nice way up there, and yeah, I think we're supposed to have rain or something here for the rest of the week. But very good. Well, hop in your truck now, Doug. You'll be able to get up there to enjoy it. Let's see. Cam, VE3IGX.
Okay, I'm the same as Doug. I didn't see the launch or the docking. But just a little update. Martha has it on our Facebook that she delivered a card on behalf of the club to Heather Day, who lives in the Durham region. And that's about it for me. I'll say 73 to everybody on frequency, and I'll be monitoring to the end. VE3LKS, VE3IGX.
Excellent, Cam. And oh, I wanted to let you know, Cam, that I used that discount code, and it did give us a further discount on the Zoom.
Well, that's super.
It sure is. So now the next time we have a meeting, we can have a Zoom meeting and not have to, everyone won't get kicked out after 40 minutes and then have to come back in again. We can be on there for 24 hours before we'll get kicked off. So that's going to be some meeting we're going to have. So if everyone plans a 1 hour segment, we're good to go, and just have lots of caffeine ready so you can stay awake for the whole thing. Let's see who's next. Jeffrey, VA3RTV, and yes, Lois, space travel for the common man. Yeah, the common rich man. You're right there, and that would be fun to do, though, I must admit. And it's just come so far. It's interesting though that they said that the what did Joe call these things? I can never remember the name of them. The dragon. He said it was a pretty rough ride. He was surprised. He says the shuttle was only a single stage, and it wasn't. It was a lot smoother. But interesting, anyways. Let's see. Jeffrey, VA3RTV.
Yeah, thanks very much, Laird. And, I actually have only watched reruns and that, but I always find, it's very exciting because as a science centre, we had a lot to do with space there. We had a whole hall devoted to space, and we also had an exhibit that the Russians brought in, which was their samples of spaceships and what have you. So very interesting. But what comes to mind is I I never could understand the animosity between the States and Russia when they needed Russia to get up to the International Space Station. That was their only means of travel with their own people, and they're sort of sleeping together up there. Like, it's just very strange. You know, you don't want to alienate someone that's your only means of getting home. Back to you, Les.
Yeah, I think politics gets totally ignored though when in things like this. I'm sure the guys up there could care less about what their governments are thinking about. They're just enjoying too much, and let's face it, they're having fun. This is a chance of, like, how many, 1 in probably 2 or 3 billion people get to go up there, you know. So yeah, it's interesting, and. What was I going to say about that too? Another thing I found interesting was how meticulous everything is. When before they could open the hatch, they were putting all their waste into different bags and that. And they were radioing down to mission control saying, like, I consumed a water bottle out of bag E241, and I put it in trash bag, T123, and they were going through the whole list. I had a breakfast out of bag, F, 234, and it's in trash bag, T109, and just amazing. But no, I probably know why they're doing that, because they have to keep track of their supplies and everything from the ground level. But it's just amazing. Even the little tiny details are so tracked and logged in everything. Let me see. VE3 DKW and Ryland. Which space shuttle are you hoping to go? I mean, space shuttle. Now I'm dating myself. Which aircraft takeoff are you planning on going up on? Maybe Ryland's on his way down to the Kennedy Space Center as we talk. Ryland, are you with us? Okay, nothing heard. And I wonder how many guys up there are hams right now. We'll have to find out. Because usually a lot of them are. And it'd be fun to make contact since school's not in session. Maybe they'll have more time to make contacts with us common amateur radio operators, because a lot of times when they're up there, they're just contacting schools mainly. But it'd be fun to make a few contacts with the space shuttle. Maybe they'll even join our rag chew one evening as they're flying over. We'll have to give them priority and let them go real quick, though, because I think they've only got like 2 or 3 minutes of opening. VA3 BAH, V3 LKS.
Well, thanks again, Leonard, for giving me the opportunity to check in and being there for the pod. It's interesting that you're talking about the space station and trying to get them to do a rag chew. There's an app that you can get on your phone. It'll tell you when the International Space Station is flying over your particular location, and it'll notify you ahead of time so that you can get your radio out in your telescope and try and make contact. So that's kind of cool. Unfortunately, though, I did not see anything on TV. I was back to work, scraping barnacles and whatnot. So I missed all that. So what can I say? And you know what? Since then, all I've seen on the news is the riots in the U.S. of A. And that's unfortunate bit of news. Back to you, Ragnet Control.
Yeah, and that's what the media likes to dwell on too. Anything negative, you wouldn't want to dwell on something positive and get people's hopes up. Yes, it is newsworthy, but do they have to do it 7:24? No. As a matter of fact, that's probably just fueling the fire, at least in my opinion, for what it's worth. And yes, but thank goodness for the NASA channel. They have a great channel there, and they've got even stuff on some of their upcoming missions. Like there's going to be one where they're going to be hooking up with some asteroids that are somewhere up near Jupiter or something. And just first of all, you have to question why, but then second of all, just all the technology that goes into making that happen. Making a little a spacecraft that's going to travel once it gets lifted into space, travel all that far and meet up with it on at that such great distance. It's amazing enough just having a capsule meet up with the space station when they're going 17,000 kilometers an hour. But it's mind blowing. VE3 CRU Bill, are you still with us?
The E3CRU is still with you. Okay, a few things. First, of no interest to Laird, but maybe to some in the club, this weekend is the June VHF contest. The 6 meters all the way up to high microwave and all that. Good chance to listen and see what DX you're going to hear, even if you don't get in to try to work it. That's my big plug for it. And FM is also included, FM Simplex. They're looking for you on the common frequencies like 146, 520 and up, and all 446, 000, etc. But anyway, when it comes to the wildlife, Larry, I don't know why you don't see any. Up here, I've got all kinds of blue jays, all kinds of cardinals, all kinds of, you got the crows, I got hawks. I have not seen the owl. The owls that were hanging around here, they were quite nice. Animal-wise, of course, you got the raccoon family, which my house was sheltered to, and rabbits with nice looking baby bunnies hopping around. They grew up quite a bit. Nice squirrels, chipmunks. I never see baby chipmunks in that. I don't know why. And of course, the mice drive the cat nuts. But since I ran out of birdseed, there's a lot of the animals that I'm not seeing. And because of the raccoons, I've had to refrain from putting anything out because raccoons will eat the birdseed that's out on the patio. So I've got to, they can find their own, the other critters can find their own food right now anyway. So with that, I'll turn it back to that, the E3 CRU.
Okay, very good, Bill. Yeah, I used to have rabbits in my backyard, but last year I grew some peppers. They're called Carolina Reapers. They're the hottest pepper that's readily available on the market right now. There is another one coming out called Peppers X, but they haven't grown it enough season to have enough seeds available for public distribution. And yeah, so I think a rabbit got into one of those one night, and I haven't seen rabbits since. They used to come and chomp on other stuff that I'd have out there, and have a nice little dinner and that. But I saw one with a chunk out of it one night, and that's the last time I've seen a rabbit in my yard. So very interesting. Oh, and one question: what's the frequency for FT8 on this contest?
Depends on the band. 144, 174, and I don't know, about 50, and let's go up to 432, 174, I think it is too. So there you go. Now maybe there's something of interest for you too. A lot of the FT8 people are shifting away from it now. They're getting tired of the problems with it. But as I say, everything has its day. Everything is being tried, and some of it is not proving itself. Back to you.
Okay, very good, Bill. VA3 WBZ William. Oh, I hope another trailer didn't back up into William's place. He'll be getting too much exercise tonight. Let's see if Ryland's back. VE3 DKW. Okay, nothing heard. William, one last call. VA3 WBZ.
VA3 WBZ. I'm just in time by the sounds of things there, Laird. I guess you're going to close up for the night then, or am I just partway through the list?
No, you get the final say tonight, William. We were just hoping you weren't out unloading another trailer there. You must have a lot of contraband there in your yard. Hi.
Yeah, the son, we had to go out to pick up some laminate for the floor.
Ooh, nice.
And we hustled, I guess, about 20 bundles into the house, I guess, and then left his son there to take it downstairs. He come back to help me with the trailer, and then he went home in his car. So I like to have a little bit of help. I'll push that trailer back beside the house. It's going to be a bit of an effort for me. So with him there to do it or help out, it's a lot easier for me. No, I'm just upstairs here listening to music and talking to you guys on the radio. And that's going to be it, I guess, for the night. The last I think I was mentioned was that the space shuttle there went up. That's rather interesting to watch. I wonder how long it's going to be before they put someone back up on the moon, because they're talking about doing that too, I think, aren't they, in the near future?
Yes, actually, this is part 2 of of trials. This sending the Dragon up to the space center, and they're gonna, I think, send one more up there, and then after that, they're gonna be looking at going to the moon using the same launch vehicle. So it will be interesting. I hope they can do it before I croak, anyways, and because I'd love to see that again. I remember watching it when I was a kid. It was funny the other day, they were talking about it on the radio, and one of the announcers just jokingly said, well, you know, with all the movie studios being shut down right now, they could probably get a good deal and film it right now. Of course, playing into the diatribe of the conspiracy theorists, in that they didn't really go to the moon, that they just shot it on a movie set somewhere.
I believe one of the countries that's also going into space, that they wanted to set up something on the darker side of the moon. What a lot of people don't know, that the moon does one revolution about every 28 or 30 days. So they don't realize that the moon does have one rotation every month or so, or something like that. So they were thinking of one of these countries, China, maybe wanted to go put a site or landing site or something on the dark side of the moon for some reason. I don't know why they went on the dark side, but it's interesting. There's a lot of theories that could be happening too on that if they want to have it on the dark side of the moon. It'd be pretty hard for anyone else to actually see and spy on them from up there too, on the dark side, because they'd have to find a way to do it. Well, just through relays, I guess, having repeaters to send a signal from one spot to another and then back to Earth. That would do like we do here all the time. Back to you, Laird.
Yeah, but can you imagine the cool soundtrack to that with a little bit of Pink Floyd going?
That would be very interesting, eh? I can just see that now. Anyway, I think what they want to do is get some people on the moon, build a launch site on the moon, then launch for Mars off the moon, because it takes a lot less energy to launch, in space itself off the moon towards Mars. So that could be maybe over 5 years if they wanted to go and build a station on the moon itself that they could use to go and launch satellites or rockets or spaceships from there to Mars, as an example. they could get a lot more acceleration and speed up there than they could here off the Earth. And that was just a fraction of the fuel being burned. Interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the technology is just mind-boggling when you think about it. Just think they were doing this, though. They were already doing this back in the 60s or the early 70s, when I was a little kid. And to think that they haven't been back in all that time, but now they're going to be able to do it in style, too. They'll probably whip out a Tesla or something and drive it around the moon. Anyways, we've come to the bottom of the list, so I'll take one last final call for check-ins. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and if you would like to join the Rag Chew for the evening, this will be your final opportunity. If so, pick up that microphone, push the PTT, and give us your call. Okay, nothing heard. Just to let you know, we had 15 check-ins on the radio this evening. That's awesome. And we had 4 people on our Rag Chew, on the Rag Chew, on the YouTube channel that were not on the radio. And so that was Lois, Jeffrey's better half. We had Darren, VE3NMD, who's down in Montreal. We had Gary Zed, our SWL, and he's joined us for a couple of our Zoom meetings. Glad to have you with us, Gary, tonight. And who else did we have? Oh, Scott, VE3RPN, although I didn't see him typing too much. I don't know what's going on there with Scotty, but very good. Thank you, everyone, for joining in this evening. And hope to hear you all on again tomorrow night. And if anybody needs to call anybody, take it away right now and make a quick call. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
Just like to add a comment there, please, Laird. I did a little look up on the internet, and there's 220 licensed amateurs that have gone into space. So that was kind of interesting. And then I'm very fortunate to know Chris Hadfield, and I've got his autograph here, and it says, Jeffrey, great to talk with you, and BA3OOG. So, yeah, I've known Chris and his family since 1982. So, very proud to know him. All the best to everybody. Have a good evening. BA3RTV.
Very good. Well, I hope that picture's nicely mounted in a frame and up on the wall somewhere, because that's definitely a keeper.
It's definitely mounted, and I've got a good picture of myself and Chris together at one of his parents' picnics there. Yep, have a good evening, everybody. Cheers.
Okay, very good. Any other final comments or questions? Okay, very good. Well, again, thanks, everybody. It's 11 minutes after 8, and so I'll say 73s. Wish you all a good evening, and look forward to doing it again tomorrow night. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and I'll be clear.
73's Laird, VA3WVZ, clear.